All right. So I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos. I watch them all the time, and I see a lot of people talk about knives, right? Knife reviews, and there's people going out there and they say you got to buy the most expensive knife and this and that, and that there's some of the low end knives, they're just no good. They're not good for anything. I want to clarify something. I, by all means, am a supporter of a good quality knife, but you also want to use your knife what it's designed for. You take a lower end knife that's just designed for cutting and whittling and some general bushcraft cutting camping tasks. You start trying to baton it like forging fire through pieces of cement block and everything else. It's not gonna cut. It's not what it's meant for. You know what I mean? So you got to use your knife for what it's designed for what it's capable of. Some knives are not designed to be used for things that are people using them for in these videos, and they're busting them all this shit, and they're saying what pieces of crap they are. I mean, let's be realistic. Some knives are crap, by all means. But even a lower end knife will hold up for the basic usages. I'm not saying you can always trust your life to a lower end knife, but for the basic uses that they're designed for, if they're used properly. So I just busted out some knives for an example here. All right. I was actually polishing up, cleaning some of my K-bars today, so I broke out two of my favorites. One, this is my all-time favorite, okay? Now, here's a good example. This is a K-bar Extreme D2. So it's made out of D2 steel, tool steel. This is a fighting knife. This is a classic, K-bar Marine Corps style fighting knife. Everybody's seen these. Okay, this is a very high-end knife. This is considered a pretty high-end knife as well. Now, these two knives, I would trust my life to K-bar that to me, they are the standard in a fixed blade fighting knife, utility knife. I've put K-bars through, I wouldn't be able to tell you how many trips and hiking and camping and survival expeditions. My K-bars have been through hell, lots of my K-bars. I have a few. These are the ones that I have that are a little more better condition. This is the ones usually on my Molly vest, which I'm actually going to probably be switching back over to the D2 because it is, I had this on the Molly vest because it's a little lighter. The D2 is much heavier steel. Now, again, fighting knife, these are designed as fighting utility knives, originally designed for the military. That's what their purposes are for. Now, they're great quality made knives, made in the United States, made in New York. These things are beasts. They last a lifetime, all right? Here's something else I want to point out. Now, because a knife is not stainless does not mean it's garbage. To tell you the truth, there's a lot of shitty stainless steel out there. Everybody's got this thing about stainless steel. It's got to be stainless. Well, if you're going to be in an area where your blade's going to be getting wet a lot, stainless might not be a bad choice. However, high carbon steels like D2 and 1095, stuff like that, those type of steels, spring steel, I've found that they're a lot easier to put an edge on. I'm not a big fan of all stainless steel knives when it comes to a survival knife. It's just my opinion. So D2 regular standard K-bars, these are great knives, but they are a little expensive. I'll get to this crazy one in a second. Now this here, I'm bringing this out like I said for illustrative purposes. This is a knife. They sell these on Bud K and a couple other websites, but I got them someplace else I got a bunch of these. Now these knives here, you could probably use these as a fighting knife. I wouldn't trust my life to it. I wouldn't use it as a fighting knife. Let's be honest. But this is a cheap knife. But you want to know something? If you're just using this as a backup knife, as an extra knife in your pack, as an extra knife in your vehicle, or just something when you're going camping with to carry, if you need, you got to kill a squirrel, or you want to make a fuzz stick, or you want to shave some wood off a tree, or whittle, or you want to cut some rope. As a camping knife, this is fine, guys. I mean, there's nothing wrong with something like this at all. Everybody's got a big misconception that you got to go with something this expensive. That's what you have to buy. Absolutely. If you got the money, like I said, I would trust my life to these two. I wouldn't trust my life to this. But this uses for a variety of cutting tests. It'll hold up just fine. If you're going to take it and you're going to beat the crap out of this thing, use this as a machete, you're going to try to chop down trees, all kinds of stuff like that, it's going to break. You got to use a knife for what it's intended for. Granted, some of the other higher-end knives can take more abuse. K-bar D2, this D2 steel is really tough. It's one of the toughest you could probably get, in my opinion. And you could put D2 through the freaking mill, and it's a great steel. All right? But, again, something like this, if this is all you can afford, you can pick these things up. I think they're like $13 online. I got them for cheaper because I bought them in bulk. But, these things like this, they will work. It shouldn't be your first go-to, but if this is what you got to work with, there's nothing wrong with that. Just remember, it's not It's not, you can't chop down trees with it. You can't put it to the same rigorous abuse that you could put these knives to. But it will still function if you use it for what it's designed for. Now, with that point being, I got this as a Christmas gift last year, guys, and I love this thing. It's cool as shit. Okay, it's not practical. It's a killer. It's designed to kill. I mean, I've seen a lot of people that, hate these knives. And I've seen some morons out there that talk about how they carry this regularly. Are you really going to carry this thing regularly? You're out of your effing mind. I mean, I don't know who would carry this thing regularly. That's just out of control. But it is a killer. It's a cool knife. And more or less, this is more of a showpiece. If you think you're going to take this out in the woods and this is going to be a bushcraft knife, and you're okay, oh, that's really cool. It's tactical looking. I'm going to take this with me. You can take this with you, sure, but if you're going to be trying to do some woodworking with this, bushcraft work, whittling, as generalized utility knife, you're out of your mind. It's going to be useless to you. You're going to be kicking yourself in the ass your first 2-3 hours into your trip if this is what you decide to carry with you. Not practical, very cool. It's a good showpiece. It's definitely a killer. I mean, this thing will kill you. This is actually, I believe it's full tang. I'm pretty sure it is. It's cast. It's all a single piece of cast stainless. I think it's probably, I don't know. I think it's probably 7 CR or 2 CR, something like 13, something like that. So it would be my guess. I can't remember, but it's on there. It's kind of hard to see with the lighting in here. And I get a focus. I can't. Anyway. Practicality. See what I'm saying? Not practical. Something like this. You want a backup truck knife, this is fine. You want a knife to trust your life to, get yourself a K-bar. Get yourself a Benchmade, a Buck. Kershaw makes pretty good knives. Gerber makes pretty good knives. Schrade has a couple. I'm not a big fan of Schrade anymore because a lot of their knives are no longer made in the USA like they used to be back in the day. A lot of the Imperial Schrade knives were made in the USA, made great knives. Some Schrade knives are still okay. But I've said this many times about Schrade. I've been disappointed with them in the past. Also, keep in mind the type of knife you're going to get. Generally speaking, I mean, I'm not a big fan of serrated. I don't mind it on this knife because, again, it's a K-bar and it's D2. But generally speaking, I'm not a serrated fan. Serrated tends to tear. It's good for working with rope and fibrous materials. Something to keep in mind. And also beware, guys, of gimmicky knives. Gimmicky knives. Now, the gimmicky knives come in all price ranges from cheap to expensive. If I can get this piece of crap open here, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Ugh. Now then, this is a cheap-ass gimmicky knife. I don't know what the hell the point of these are. These serrations are useless. These probably useless. I mean, got all kinds of freaking serrations everywhere. This is a gimmicky knife. This thing is gimmicky. It's bottom line. You got a half serrated. I don't mind a little serration, something like this. I don't like half serrated or full serrated knives. I never did. These are a gimmicky knife, guys. Don't be fooled by gimmicky survival knives. There's a lot of them out there. Probably my guess would most likely be, I know it's not full tang. It's probably got a threaded rod or a partial tang into here, and it's held together with some epoxy or some shit in here. If you're going to do some basic cutting with this, I guess it's all right. But it's gimmicky. You don't need gimmicky knives. A basic knife to do the task that you're asking it to do is all you need. That's it. I'm already 8 minutes into this video. It's ridiculously longer than I thought I wanted it to be anyway. Bottom line is, if you use your knife for what it's designed for, whether it be a lower end or a higher end, it will last you a long time. Granted, like I said, I'm not saying cheap knives are the greatest in the world. There's a reason we call them cheap knives. But they will do cutting tasks. They're not designed for batoning through things. They're not designed as throwing knives or machetes. They're designed to cut things. Using it to cut things, they'll work. Alright? Higher end knives, if you can afford them, awesome, do it. I swear by the higher end knives, K-bars and Bucks and Gerbers are probably my 3 favorites. Go for it. If you can afford it, definitely go for it. At the very least, if you're going to pick yourself up an all-around great utility knife, get yourself a K-bar. That's my opinion. But, alright everybody, that's it for today. Hopefully it wasn't too boring, too long. Alright, take care everybody, stay safe. It's a jungle out there.